Hello and welcome back to Miss Robin McGee's Critical Thinking and Analysis class here at Fremont College. Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite things, Chapter 6, it's opinions. I think the best part about being a human being is that we all have opinions. We all have many opinions about lots of stuff, and we get to do that. Okay, but let's look what the definition of an opinion is. And I know you've got your handy Webster's Dictionary, as I've talked about before. So their definition of an opinion is something, it's a belief. It's stronger than an impression and less strong than positive knowledge. I like that definition. An opinion is stronger than an impression and less strong than positive knowledge. So when we say we make a first impression, that's just kind of our first blush, our first thought about a person, place, or thing. But when we have an opinion, opinions can be pretty rigid, and it can be very difficult for others to move us off our opinions. So just think about it. How many times have you used opinions to influence others? If you're in a leadership role, this is kind of a second nature for you, but what about just in everyday life? How many times have you used your opinion to influence an occurrence? Perhaps you're dealing with your boss, or you may be dealing with, the bank or your children, something like that. How often do you use your opinions to influence? Conversely, how often do others use their opinions to influence you? Are you easily influenced by what other people think? And when we're talking about opinions, that's what we are talking about. I think, I feel, I believe. When we say to me, we're usually an expression and opinion. But opinions can be very powerful, particularly if we're able to persuade others through our own opinions, and also if we are easily persuadable through other people's opinions. So please think about that, and that's actually one of the exercises in the e-cafe for this particular lesson. Now the book talks about the different types of opinions. Many are judgments. We'll make judgment calls, as we call it. We give advice. We make generalizations, personal preferences, and general public sentiment. And when we talk about general public sentiment, those are opinions expressed in polls. Opinion polls are very important in politics, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. But personal opinions, judgments, we judge something to be either good, bad. We judge a person to be either smart or dumb. Doesn't necessarily have to be a fact, and again, just as inferences and assumptions aren't always facts, neither are your opinions, unless they can be proven. Advice, many of us feel it's our duty and our responsibility to give others advice, but really what is advice other than an opinion? It could be an educated opinion, it may be opinion that we've garnered through knowledge, through book learning, or through experience, but basically it's our own opinion. When we talk about generalizations, we can go back and talk about stereotyping and so forth. We create an opinion based on a whole generalization. We create an opinion about a certain group of people based on a general idea that we have about those people. Personal preferences. I may say I prefer to drive an American car. American cars are better, I might say. But really, that's just an opinion. Some people may agree with that, and some people may disagree. That's the value of opinions, or the beauty of opinions, is that you can take it or leave it. Unless it's based with fact, generally accepted fact, then it's just an opinion. Okay, so I think, again, the book does a very good job of breaking it down into opinions as claims. When you're creating an argument, you can use your opinion to make a claim, as I did about American cars being the very best. But obviously, it starts as an opinion. I can't leave it like that. I'd have to back it up with facts, and the facts would be examples, statistics, and so forth, personal experience. On page 183, the book conducts a visual idea of how you would use an opinion with evidence, facts, claims, reasoning, and so forth. So make sure you look at that. Now, the exercise I want you to do for this particular chapter, the chapter on opinions, is on page 184. And what you're going to do, and again, it's going to be 1 to 2 pages long. And just think of those, when I say 1 to 2 pages, think of those in terms of, that's usually about 200 words. If you do a 1 to 2 page essay, it's usually about 200 words. And how would you know that? Because you'd use your word count on Microsoft Word. So think in terms of words as opposed to to pages. So what you're going to do for this essay is you're going to state an opinion. You're going to make a principal claim. You're going to create a thesis statement. But again, it's based on your opinion. So just as an example, we'll go back to my opinion of American cars are the best cars to drive. So that's my thesis. That's my principal claim. I have to give supporting evidence. And what I want you to do with your principal claim or your statement is to give 3 or more reasons why you believe this opinion to be true. With my example about American cars, I would say the American cars are best because they have the best design, they have the best pricing, and they have the best gas mileage. Those would be my 3 claims. Now, again, these are my opinions. Others may disagree, others may agree. Also, provide evidence. You'll have to provide evidence in terms of facts, statistics. And what do I mean when I say statistics? Statistics are numbers. Statistics are numbers. Okay, so when you're going through to prove something, you can prove something by the use of numbers or percentages. Okay, some people are more comfortable with numbers and statistics than others. Specific examples to support your claim. Persuasion. How are you going to persuade someone that your opinion should be the one to be accepted? Going back to my example about American cars, how would I persuade someone that's deciding to buy a car that American cars are the best cars to buy? I would persuade them through my facts, examples, statistics, and really my word usage and the energy I'm putting behind my words to persuade them to come along to my opinion. A conclusion. What conclusions do you make about your opinion? How do you wrap it all up? How do you conclude it? How do you end it with a general statement that supports what you believe to be true, your own opinion? With my example of a car, my conclusion would be, in conclusion, I would say because American cars sell far better than other cars, American cars are the best cars to drive. Somebody might jump up and say, wait a minute, Miss M, wait a minute, Miss M, that's not true, that's not proof. I have other evidence to contradict what you're saying. Okay, well, that's the beauty, again, of an opinion. They can be believed or not believed. But when you're creating an argument, you have to create your strongest facts and evidence to support your opinions. Lastly, we're going to talk about, as I mentioned earlier, public opinion. And we gauge or we measure public opinion through polling. And I can't tell you what big business polling is. As I said, politicians and politics very involved in polling, but also now the media is very involved in polling, marketing, advertising, all these fields involved in polling. Why? Because they're trying to ascertain or determine how the majority or how many people feel. It's very obvious when we're talking about politics and public opinion polling, how many people like the Democrats? What polling consists of is taking a large number of representative sample, they call it, and they ask questions of, say, 500 people. But those 500 people are to represent 500,000 people, and they assume that these people are going to feel the same way, that these 500 people, not randomly selected, specifically selected, would be the same as 500,000 people in their opinions. That's why politicians really rely heavily on opinion polls, because they can measure what a lot of people think by just sampling a few. But how does opinions or public opinion work in marketing and advertising? Because what people do is they do what they call focus groups. They take a small group, they measure their tastes, and they extrapolate what these people feel to a larger group. And that's how they decide what to advertise, what products to put on the market, how to package the products, and so forth. So you see how very important public opinion is, as well as individual opinions are very important too. So be sure now to check the midterm review online. I'm going to go through just about everything you'll need to know for your midterm and get an A and do really well on it. So until then, I will speak to you later and have a good one. Bye.